Replacing the battery in this electric car costs $22,000. The cells inside it, the actual lithium-ion cylinders that store the charge, are worth about $8,000 at wholesale. The other $14,000 is for one specific reason. The company that makes the car will not sell you the cells separately, will not let an independent shop install them, and requires every replacement to go through a certified Tesla authorized service center. That company is Tesla. The car is yours. The battery inside it, in a meaningful sense, is not. And nobody outside the building tells you any of this when you sign the lease. That's the reason why. So first, the basics. An electric vehicle battery is not one big block. It's an assembly of thousands of individual lithium-ion cells, cylindrical or pouch-shaped, about the size of a finger, wired together in series and parallel inside a steel-cased pack underneath the floor of the car. A Tesla Model 3's battery contains around 4,400 cells. The cells are mostly made by Panasonic, with some from CATL and LG. They are commodity components. You can buy a single cell on Alibaba for under $5. The whole pack of 4,400 cells at wholesale cost is roughly $6,000 to $8,000 depending on the year. None of that hardware is unique to Tesla. Now, here's the reveal. Tesla does not sell those cells, those packs, or any replacement battery to anyone outside of Tesla service centers. The company's official policy is that battery replacements only happen through certified Tesla authorized installers. The official replacement cost for a Model 3 battery, including parts and labor, is between $22,000 and $26,000. The hardware cost is $6,000 to $8,000. The remaining $14,000 to $18,000 is effectively the markup on access to the certified service network. If your battery dies after the warranty ends and you want a working car again, you have two options. You pay Tesla, or you buy a different car. There is no third path the firmware allows. This is the part most owners do not realize until it is too late. Tesla's terms of sale prohibit you from doing the work yourself, prohibit independent shops from sourcing official cells, and the cells the company uses have proprietary firmware that the battery management system checks before letting the pack run. Even if you sourced cells from Panasonic and built a pack matching Tesla's spec exactly, the car's BMS would refuse to enable it without a Tesla Service Tech's authorization code. The hardware is open, the firmware is closed, and the firmware is the gate. The same physical cell, sold by the same supplier, behaves like one product when Tesla allows it, and like a brick when Tesla doesn't. If that pattern sounds familiar, it should. It is the same playbook that Apple runs for iPhone repair, John Deere runs for tractor repair, and Nvidia runs for the CUDA software stack on its data center GPUs. You buy the hardware. The vendor controls the software gate. The software gate becomes the moat. In Tesla's case, the leverage is even tighter, because a battery replacement isn't a one-time event you can route around. It is an inevitable cost of owning the car for 10 years or more. The asymmetry between what you can buy on the open market, $8,000 cells, and what Tesla charges you, $26,000 service, is the moat made visible. The legal status of this had been settled, and on Tesla's side, for over a decade now. Then in late 2024, the Federal Trade Commission ruled that automakers cannot prohibit independent repair shops from working on consumer-grade EVs, and that they must make replacement parts available at fair market wholesale prices. The ruling specifically targeted Tesla's practice. Tesla challenged the ruling in court. As of early 2026, the case is on appeal. If the FTC ruling stands, the cell replacement market will open up almost overnight, and prices will drop to something close to wholesale, plus a small labor margin. If the ruling gets overturned, things stay exactly as they are. $26,000 to replace a part that costs $8,000. Right-to-Repair, as the movement is called, has been arguing this point for 15 years across consumer electronics, agricultural equipment, and industrial machinery. The Tesla case is the highest-stakes consumer product example yet. If Tesla wins, the lock-in pattern legitimizes for every electric vehicle manufacturer that comes after PUS. Rivian, Lucid, Ford F-150 Lightning, every Chinese brand entering the US market in 2026. If Tesla loses, the pattern breaks, and the entire car repair economy that's been built around closed firmware unwinds in about 3 years. There are economists who think this single court case will determine whether owning an electric vehicle in the year 2035 looks more like owning a car you can fix yourself or leasing a phone you can't. Either way, the next time you see a Model 3 or a Model Y on the road, what you are looking at is not exactly a finished car. It is hardware plus a software gate. The hardware is yours. The software is rented. The battery underneath is held together by a firmware checkpoint you can't legally circumvent, and you can't physically replace without Tesla's permission. The right-to-repair fight is not really about cars at all. It is about who actually owns a piece of complex machinery you paid $40,000 for, and whether the answer is the buyer who signed the check or the manufacturer who shipped the firmware update 3 weeks after delivery. Tomorrow morning, when you walk past a Tesla in a parking lot, look at it for a second longer than you usually would. The car is owned by the person whose key fob is in their pocket. The battery underneath is leased back from Tesla on a $14,000 rolling subscription that activates the moment the new vehicle warranty ends. The cells inside that battery cost the company about $7,000 to source from Panasonic. The car will run for 10 years, 15 if you're lucky, and then the battery will fail, and the owner will face a bill for $26,000 or a replacement car. That bill is not for hardware. It is for permission to keep the car running. The hardware moat used to be that nobody else could build the cells. Now anyone can. Panasonic sells them, CATL sells them, LG sells them. The moat moved into the firmware, and that is where the next 20 years of consumer product battles will be fought, over who actually owns the software inside the things you already paid full price for. The Tesla you saw in the parking lot is just the example everyone happens to own and everyone is talking about. The right-to-repair court case still on appeal is the legal hinge of the whole fight. That's how right-to-repair really works in practice today. Every piece of complex machinery you own has a story like this, hiding inside the firmware, and most of them are stranger than this single one. Subscribe so the next one finds you.